So I was riding my motorcycle on the highway. It was very windy on my way right through North Carolina. I was on a challenge called the Iron Butt. Anyone here heard of an Iron Butt? All right. So it's where you ride 1,000 miles within 24 hours. Yeah. So I had so much that I wanted to catch up on because I was so busy with my children, and at this time I was 53 and my children had grown, gotten married, and I was single again. So I was like, what could I do? I had this great Honda. I had learned how to ride 11 years before this because I just got tired of hopping on other people's motorcycles on the back and letting them lead me. So I had to learn how to ride my own bike. And during this challenge, I just felt like this was my opportunity to catch up on experience and adventure that I had missed through the years. And I had a great Honda Shadow 750. Hondas are great, they're comfortable, predictable, but I was done with predictable. And so I traded her in for a very loud, really fast torque Indian Scout motorcycle, which I loved. It was black chrome, and all the guys I rode with, they were like, oh my God, you have the loudest bike now. I was like, yeah, okay. And, but it's safe. Loud pipes save lives, and so that's why I really wanted the loud pipes. So I'm on this challenge, and I think about, as I'm going down the road, I think about the night before. There was a lot of preparation. It's kind of like you have to prepare like you're ready for like a firefighter. I laid out my leather jacket, I laid out my layers of clothing, and I laid them out on the pool table. My helmet, my red leather gloves, which I bedazzled myself. The guys laughed at that one. And they're like, what'd you do? And just to celebrate and get ready for the challenge. Now, I also had to prepare my backpack because time is of the essence on this type of ride. You have to pack everything. You have to pack your food, your drinks, anything and everything, because we timed it out, so we only had 15 minutes for each of the 7 stops down to South Carolina from Brookfield, Connecticut. So that means you have to have your food, your drink, ladies' room, gas up, everything within 15 minutes and get back on the road. So I packed everything up the night before. That night I was so just excited and anxious. I only slept about 2 hours. So when I got up, I hopped in my clothes, I got geared up, I avoided breakfast burritos. Like I said, timing is of the essence, so no surprises. And I remembered to fasten my helmet, because I hate wearing helmets. In Connecticut, we don't have to, but I had to wear one on this one. So I remembered to fasten it, hopped on my bike. It was 2:30 in the morning to make my way up to meet the rest of the guys. And it's very windy, and it's dark, and I could see the rain in front of my headlight, and it was spring, April 2021, and all the seeds, all the pods from the leaves were just in front of my bike, and I was like, okay, let's just hope a deer is not going to run in front of my bike. Let's just make it to the group. So I made it to the group. The dealership was open, they had music, donuts, whatever, getting us ready, did our paperwork, informed us that there's going to be a wind advisory the whole way down the East Coast. So I made another trip to the bathroom. I was just so nervous. And when I looked outside and I made sure the truck that would follow us, the emergency truck, was following us, the 12 of us down. When I came out, I just made sure that was there. And then a friend of mine, Jim, who was on the ride, he just was getting pumped up, and he's like, you ready to go? I'm like, I think so. I'm afraid to leave the bathroom because I'm so nervous. He's like, don't worry, this is my first time. Now, I had resisted signing up for this. The guys just kept asking me to join because they needed the 12. And I kept saying, no. But Jim, it was his first Iron Butt as well, and it made me feel a little comforted. He was the one who signed me up when I traded in my comfy Honda for this Scout at the dealership. And that day he said, join the group because you'll learn how to ride more, like further distances. Because until that point, I'd ridden 11 years, but I'd only ridden in the good summer temperatures on short rides where someone led me. So I was really insecure about going on long distance rides. But when I bought my motorcycle, I joined the Indian group, and we would go on these long rides all day till I was beat tired at night. So I felt comforted when Jim said he was going to ride on this long trip too. And he's like, no, ready, okay, everyone's gonna put on their gear, their rain gear, because it's raining as well as the wind advisory. And we all hopped on our bikes. I was number 9 in the lineup. And Jim looked back from his avocado chief Indian and waved to me, gave me the nod, and I gave him the nod, and just put down my helmet, empty bladders, full gas tanks, and kickstands are up at 4 o'clock in the morning. And there we went. We went up on the road, and I just, for 20 hours, I just sat there, and my hands, the bike just shook, and my hands were sore, and my head bobbed in my helmet, and my buns were getting quite sore at that time. And all of a sudden, I look, and I see something red, and I look, and it's a snake. It's a snake on my hand. And it's so dark on this highway. There's no street lights down in South Carolina on the highway. And I see it, and all of a sudden I question. I was like, really? Why? And so I looked, and I see, okay, wait a minute. I see a divider, a white divider behind it. I'm like, I'm on a motorcycle ride challenge. And so I shook my head. It was still there. I shook my head even harder and not fall off my motorcycle because the wind is blasting my head and blasting my chest. So I shook it, and the snake went away. And I kept going because I realized if I stopped, that would be it. I would fail. And I am here to make up the miles. So the guys, we just kept going. I had 8 guys in front of me, and all of a sudden, I noticed that the 8 taillights in front of me get smaller and smaller and smaller. And all I notice around me, I look around, and I'm like, okay, I see the other guys around, the other 3 guys, but the lights get smaller and smaller. And I look at my speedometer. I'm like, am I like slowing down? Am I running out of gas or something? I said, no, it's 85. I'm going 85 miles an hour. And they're just blowing into the dark. Now, I don't have my GPS on because I'm following the captain, the road captain. So I just look, and I try to go like this to some of the guys. I'm trying to pull them in front of me. So one of the guys, he's a retired Marine, he comes up front, and he coasts there, and then all of a sudden he falls back. And then I'm trying to call someone else, like move up front, and no one's taking the lead. So I just look, just into the dark, and I see a gas sign on one of the next exits. So I get off. My bike's, the light's on. I get off the exit, the guys follow me. As I pull into the gas station, which was right off the stop there, I see off to the left the group of guys, and they're already suiting up. And they're like this to me. I'm like, oh my God. So one of the guys runs over to me, and he says, are you okay? I said, am I okay? How fast are you guys going? I said, you know what? Just take the rest of the guys and go without me. We have we only have a couple hours left to get there. So you need to take the guys, leave me, I'm not worried about it, I'll get there wherever I need to go, just take the guys and go. And he got up in my face and he said, Michelle, I'm 74 years old and you have no excuse. He said, take off the backpack, because I had my big backpack on me, throw it in the cab. And I was like, I just resisted. And then finally I said, you know what, I'm gonna throw my ego and the backpack in the truck, and that's what I did. Pitched in the truck, came back on the bike, filled up, had just a swig of water, put my helmet on to hide and fight back the tears, and we pulled back out, up on the highway, again, into the wind, and just, I got into the rhythm of everyone else, and we went. Probably about an hour later, it happens again. The tail lights are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. I look at my speed, I'm like, dudes, I'm doing 85. I asked him. So I just said, what can I do? And after a couple minutes, it dawned on me. It dawned on me that I am not here just to complete a challenge. I'm here to make up the miles and just make the love of the riding that I have and make new adventures. And I just love riding. That's all I wanted to do was ride. And with that, I just loosened up my grip and I opened the throttle with the other. And I refused to look at that speedometer again. And I just took off. After probably half an hour, I saw in the distance an exit sign that it got closer and closer, and all of a sudden it said Lanson. I was like, I think that's the place I have to go. So I hit my brakes and I just veered off behind the exit sign, down into the ditch, into the mud, up the hill, and back on the side, on the road, on the exit. And the guys were far enough behind me that they made it off the exit ramp. I stopped at the end. I was like, I think this is it. I think this is it. So I put on my GPS, and we made our way to the dealership there. And as we pulled in, we were the last group in. 22 hours later, the group there just cheered for us, and I staggered off my bike, and Jim came up to me, gave me a big hug, said welcome, and I went up for my t-shirt, my t-shirt trophy. And that night when I went into the hotel, I slept in that t-shirt, and I just thought about the miles that I had put on from where I was to where I was at that moment. Just how wonderful it was and how far I came. And it allowed me to follow my love for riding and find my own adventure. Thank you.